an error occurred in my last video and I had to pretty much restart from this second video. But what I was saying is that I had f prime of x, which is g of x. So what I'm looking at is the limit as x approaches -4 of g of x over 2x plus 4. And that's pretty much g of -4 over 2 times -4 plus 4. Now, to calculate g of -4, let's just look at our graph. And when x is -4, we have y of 2. It's a nice point that's given to us here. So when x is -4, y is 2. So we get positive 2. That's -8. -8 plus 4 is 4. So positive 2 over 4. Oh, that's -4 actually. So -8 plus 4 is -4. So we get our answer of -1/2. That's the final answer. For part D, you have to use h of x equals g of x over x squared plus 1 to find h prime of 1. So before we can find h prime of 1, we need to calculate h prime of x. And we're going to use the quotient rule to do that. So the quotient rule says we're going to take the derivative of the top. So the derivative of g of x is g prime of x times x squared plus 1 minus then the derivative of the bottom, or we have 2x times the top, g of x. All of it over the denominator squared, so it's x squared plus 1 squared. So when we get, now that we have this, we're just going to pretty much change everything, every x to a 1. So this is pretty much what we get. And we have g prime of 1. And that's going to be 1 squared plus 1. That's going to be 2. So g prime of 1 times 2 minus, and then this is going to be 2 and times g of 1. All of this over 2 squared, or 4. Now, the question is, how do we calculate g prime of 1 and g of 1? We need to look at our graph. So g prime of 1 is probably the easiest one to calculate. It's just pretty much 3. When x equals 1, our output is 3. So g of 1 is just 3. Now, g prime of 1 is pretty much asking what's the slope when x equals 1. And the nice thing about this is that we have a linear function and we know how to calculate the slope. We can go from this intercept to that intercept. We go down 6 and to the right 2. So the slope is -6 over 2, or -3 over 1. We go down 3 to the right 1, down 3 to the right 1. We see that that works. Down 3 to the right 1. So we could have said -6 over 2 as the slope, or just -3. G prime of 1 comes out to be -3. So we can go ahead and change these values. G prime of 1, we got -3 times 2 minus 2 times g of 1 we said was 3 over 4. And remember, we can actually leave our answer like this. If this is the AP test, I would strongly recommend you leave the answer like that. And that's it. Move on to the next problem. On the paper though, if you guys kept on going and you want to check to see if you were right, we got -3 as the final answer. This will produce -3. That's what the rubric says. However, if you leave it like this, this works too.